TikTok about Indiana wide receiver Elijah, who revealed he named his dog CC after Caitlin Clark, showing love and support for the Indiana Hosiers this upcoming night, which is today. So this is the post here. Indiana fans may not like it. She's named after CC. Now, Caitlin Clark, we all know, went to Iowa, and Iowa been killing it right now in women's basketball, but she's starting to show love, man. Indiana is really starting to grow on her. She said, hope he scores 3 touchdowns Monday night. Big Indiana fan.
Caitlin Clark recently opened up regarding the Indiana Fever's defensive strategy and her personal approach to guarding opponents going forward. The franchise operates primarily as a defense-oriented squad, with Stephanie White placing significant emphasis on protecting the basket throughout last season. However, uncertainty surrounds whether fans will witness a 2026 campaign, considering negotiations for the collective bargaining agreement have stalled without meaningful progress. Clark has actively engaged across social media platforms lately, generating buzz through various statements addressing ongoing situations. This increased digital presence demonstrates positive growth, as connecting with supporters and fellow competitors helps sustain momentum around her brand while keeping basketball enthusiasts invested. Previously, her online activity remained relatively minimal, but recent behavior shows a shift toward more public engagement. During today's national championship football contest, Clark shared and commented on a TikTok video featuring Indiana wide receiver Elijah, who disclosed naming his puppy CC in honor of the basketball sensation.
Indiana fan Monday night. So Caitlin Clark let the world know she's going to be a big Indiana fan this upcoming Monday night. So this is the dog right here, CC, and I think it's dope. I think it's dope that they're working together. I think it's dope that Caitlin Clark is actually acknowledging the Indiana college football team. Now, she did speak about the Bears, which is crazy because I'm actually in Chicago right now, and it was crazy out here last night, and it was freezing.
She expressed enthusiasm for the Hoosiers ahead of tonight's matchup. The original post revealed the Canine's namesake origin, sparking conversation among Indiana supporters. Despite attending Iowa throughout college, where the women's hoops program currently thrives, Clark appears increasingly attached to her professional home state. She declared her intention to cheer for Indiana during Monday night's game, writing about hoping the receiver finds the end zone 3 times. Clark also weighed in on the Chicago Bears' performance following their recent contest. The team delivered an impressive showing, particularly highlighted by Caleb Williams' fourth-quarter pass. Many observers proclaimed it among the greatest throws in professional football history, though such claims might stretch beyond reasonable assessment.
Especially in Chicago right now, and it was crazy out here last night, and it was freezing. Now, the Bears played last night, and they had magnificent game, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. She stated the Bears are insane, and that was because of the fourth quarter throw that Caleb Williams threw, and many people were saying that's probably one of the best throws in NFL history. I wouldn't go on to say all that, but it's definitely top 5, bro. What he was able to do was just simply remarkable. I reacted to that on my other channel, John the Liquidator 2.0, but now we got to get into the.
Nevertheless, Williams' execution proved extraordinary under pressure. The basketball star recently made lighthearted remarks about one of her coaching staff members' defensive priorities. Finding weaknesses in Clark's abilities remains challenging for critics. At merely 23 years old, she ranks among basketball's most gifted offensive threats regardless of gender division. Her scoring prowess stands unmatched when physically capable of competing. However, Clark's availability became problematic when she suffered an injury in July, keeping her sidelined from competitive action since that time frame. Many fans have expressed frustration regarding this absence, especially with ongoing labor negotiations potentially jeopardizing the upcoming season.
To get into the gust of this video, and it is Caitlin Clark joking about defensive focus for the Fever coach. So basically, it looked like Caitlin Clark could be calling out Stephanie White. Man, Caitlin Clark has joked about one of her Indiana Fever coaches' emphasis on defense, bruh. It's that it's hard to poke holes in Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark game. Despite being just 23 years old, she is one of the most talented offensive.
Supporters have dedicated substantial attention to following her career, making any extended absence feel particularly disappointing. Failing to see Clark participate in 2026 would represent a significant letdown for the basketball community. Her 2025 campaign proved difficult as health concerns restricted her participation to only 13 appearances due to multiple soft tissue problems. Fortunately, this challenging period has passed, and the star player has recovered completely ahead of her third professional season. Clark built her reputation primarily through exceptional shooting range, especially her trademark deep bombs from the logo area. Additionally, her mid-range scoring and playmaking vision through assists showcase her versatility, yet acknowledging her talents doesn't require ignoring areas needing improvement.
Of the most talented offensive weapons in all of basketball, men's or women. I repeat, that is men's or women's. When she's healthy and able to compete. Now, we do know Caitlin Clark went down in July, and we have not seen Caitlin Clark on a basketball court since July, bro. I just got to be honest. Now, a lot of people have definitely been feeling a type of way about that, dealing with these negotiations, dealing with us possibly seeing Caitlin Clark. Will we see her? A lot of
She occasionally attempts passes or shots that aren't available, leading to turnovers. For considerable stretches, Clark topped the league in giveaways, a statistic that prominent analysts discussed extensively. Skip Bayless addressed this concern before his show ended its run, highlighting how her mistakes proved detrimental to team success. Jason Whitlock similarly discussed Clark's turnover troubles during media appearances. Beyond ball handling issues, Clark faces criticism for limited development with her weaker hand and defensive shortcomings. Observers have repeatedly questioned her commitment to guarding opponents. Past instances show her appearing disengaged on defense, resulting in easy scoring opportunities for rivals.
Dealing with us possibly seeing Caitlin Clark. Will we see her? A lot of fans have invested their life into this young lady. Even me, you know what I'm saying? Just reporting on her every day. It'll just be doing us a disservice if Caitlin Clark is not able to play for the 2026 season. But the article goes on to say the problem was Clark couldn't keep healthy during the Fever's 2025 season, as she was limited to just 13 games because of various soft tissue injuries. But this unfortunate season is now in the rear view.
However, most elite offensive players don't prioritize defensive effort. Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan represented rare exceptions who excelled on both ends. LeBron James occasionally delivers spectacular defensive plays like chase-down blocks, though he also conserves energy when possible. Stephen Curry similarly doesn't anchor his team's defense. When players carry heavy offensive responsibilities, reduced defensive intensity becomes common. Clark's defensive development falls under assistant coach Brianne January's guidance. Speculation suggested January might pursue head coaching opportunities with Dallas or other franchises that recently changed leadership, but her name wasn't seriously considered for those positions.
Is now in the rear view, as number 22 is back to full strength ahead of the third WNBA season in 2026. Caitlin Clark is perhaps best known for her sharpshooting ability, particularly her logo three, and pretty much the way she uses her mid-range game and the way she could toss the basketball around coming off assists. Now, however, this is not to say that Caitlin Clark is the perfect basketball player.
She remains with Indiana as an assistant for the upcoming season, though circumstances could shift before games begin. January brings extensive experience and earns widespread respect throughout the organization. January earned 7 all-defensive team selections during her playing career. On January 16th, the league's official Instagram account shared footage of January training young players abroad. Clark reposted this content on her personal account, adding a humorous caption suggesting January probably had the children practicing defensive footwork exercises for extended periods. This interaction demonstrates Clark's awareness of defensive priorities while showing her willingness to acknowledge the coaching staff's preparation methods heading into 2026. Another topic generating discussion involves a viral TikTok video analyzing Clark's offensive approach.
This is not to say that Caitlin Clark is the perfect basketball player. She sometimes forces things that aren't there. Now, if you guys don't remember, Caitlin Clark was leading the WNBA in turnovers for quite some period of time. I believe Skip Bayless actually talked about this before before Undisputed was pulled off the air, how her turnovers was pretty much costly to the team. I remember we talked about this when I was on Jason Whitlock. Jason Whitlock was another person in the media space that kind of spoke about Caitlin Clark.
The content creator argued that no offensive system surpasses basketball centered around Clark's abilities, explaining why Iowa utilized read and react principles. He suggested most half-court schemes should initiate with pick-and-roll actions as the primary option, followed by secondary alternatives. The video breakdown examined Clark's court awareness and timing. One sequence showed her deliberately advancing the ball slowly, waiting for a second defender to reach the three-point line before attacking. This patience created a situation where opposing defenders essentially screened each other as Clark turned the corner, allowing a clear path toward the basket. The analysis highlighted this as exceptional basketball intelligence. Another clip demonstrated Clark's passing precision during a pick-and-roll possession against Connecticut.
Mafia, Paige Beckers, somebody that checks in boxes. All right, that fulfills the agenda that the WNBA wants out of their kind of fans. Yeah, maybe more so of that the WNBA's fellow players and many of their coaches and leadership, like general managers throughout the league, actually want their players to check certain boxes. She does that, right?
As the defense switched, Clark adjusted her passing angle to account for the defender's positioning. With Aaliyah Boston rolling toward the rim with minimal separation, Clark created the perfect trajectory to lead her teammate directly to the basket despite tight coverage. The video concluded by claiming Clark possesses the highest basketball IQ across both professional leagues, emphasizing her transition play and decision-making abilities. The analysis sparked considerable debate about her mental processing compared to other elite players. The conversation centers around unrivaled basketball and its heavily promoted athlete who supposedly brings star power to the competition. However, this athlete hasn't actually boosted the league's popularity whatsoever.
Does that, right? And I'm talking about one Paige Beckers. Now, it's funny. It was my understanding she was going to dominate this league. I'm talking about unrivaled, right? Second-rate women's basketball that has basically no real stars playing in it whatsoever. Outside of, Kelsey Mitchell's a star, okay. But I'm talking about your upper echelon. There's no Caitlin Clark.
Multiple game nights at the small Dallas venue haven't even reached capacity. Yet certain fans insist she surpasses Caitlin Clark in talent and recognition. Absolutely ridiculous. The focus shifts to exposing misleading narratives and revealing actual facts. This concerns a UConn product named Paige Beckers, someone who fits particular criteria. She matches precisely what the WNBA desires from their fanbase demographic.
But I'm talking about your upper echelon. There's no Caitlin Clarks. There's no Asia Wilsons. There's no Sabrina Ionescu's. Angel Reese, nowhere to be seen in the league this year, by the way. Boy, I think that's an indictment on the league, too. Angel literally said, not worth my time. And you may be like, Rose, did she literally say that? Well, yeah, because she didn't show up. She chose not to play. So here we go.
Perhaps even more accurately, WNBA teammates, coaching staff, and front office executives throughout the organization prefer athletes who satisfy specific requirements. Beckers accomplishes this perfectly. The expectation was total dominance in this competition. Unrivaled represents inferior women's basketball featuring virtually zero legitimate elite talent participating. Outside of Kelsey Mitchell qualifying as notable, there's nobody from the top tier, no Caitlin Clark presence, no Aja Wilson, no Sabrina Ionescu.
And we'll get to the sports media trying to escalate Paige Beckers to WNBA MVP right after this, okay? We will get to that, but I wanted to set this up by telling you just how much she's really leading the wins in Unrivaled. Paige Beckers got off to a strong start to Unrivaled league action as her expansion team, Breeze, started 2-0 with some impressive.
Angel Reese is completely absent from this season's action. That absence speaks volumes about the league's quality. Reese essentially communicated through her decision, declaring it unworthy of her effort. Her absence speaks for itself since participation never materialized. She deliberately opted out of competing. Sports journalism outlets are attempting to promote Buchers for WNBA Most Valuable Player recognition.
Expansion team Breeze started 2-0 with some impressive wins before they lost to defending unrivaled champion Rose, BC. They had a chance to bounce back Saturday night against the Vinyl, BC. They did not bounce back. These names are terrible. The Vinyl, BC ran away with the game 81-66, and the score didn't even feel like it was that close. The Vinyl went up by 11 just a minute into the second quarter, and they never looked.
Before examining that absurdity, consider her actual winning record in Unrivaled. Buchers initiated Unrivaled competition successfully when her expansion squad Breeze opened with consecutive victories through solid performances before falling to reigning champion Rose, BC. Saturday brought another opportunity versus Vinyl, BC for redemption. That comeback never happened. These franchise names are awful. Vinyl, BC demolished them 81-60, though the final tally undersells the beatdown.
A minute into the second quarter, and they never looked back. By halftime, they were up 50-30, and the game essentially felt over. So, Paige Bueckers is the leader of that team, by the way. And this is the person that The Athletic is picking to be the WNBA most valuable player. My God, just the sports media should just come out and say, we hate Caitlin Clark.
Vinyl established an 11-point advantage just 60 seconds into quarter two and maintained control throughout. Halftime arrived with a 50-30 deficit, making the outcome obvious long before conclusion. Buchers captains that squad, remember, yet The Athletic selects her for WNBA Most Valuable Player honors. Absolutely staggering. Sports journalism should openly admit their disdain for Caitlin Clark.
Come out and say, we hate Caitlin Clark. Just come out and say it. That you can't stand Caitlin Clark. That's so wild. But guys, I talk about the agenda all the time, and this is it. There's no greater offenders of the when it comes to the agenda than the sports media. They're the biggest culprits. Paige Bueckers is going into her second WNBA season fresh off of winning the Rookie of the Year.
Just acknowledge the hatred directly rather than concealing it. Truly bizarre behavior. This predetermined narrative gets discussed constantly because it's undeniable. Sports media represents the worst perpetrators regarding this favoritism. They're the primary offenders. Bueckers enters her sophomore WNBA campaign following Rookie of the Year achievement.
Bueckers is going into her second WNBA season fresh off of winning the Rookie of the Year honors. However, Paige Bueckers might be going for more lucrative hardware. In 2026, the Athletic insider Ben Pickman believes the Wings point guard could be the league's most valuable player in 2026. Quote, the WNBA MVP award essentially has been earmarked to particular players for more than a half a decade. Since 2018, Breanna Stewart or Asia Wilson has taken home the honor 6 of 8 seasons, with Jonquel Jones, one of my favorites.
Nevertheless, Buchers might pursue more prestigious recognition throughout 2026. Athletic insider Ben Pickman suggests the Wings guard could claim league MVP status in 2026. The WNBA MVP trophy has essentially rotated between designated individuals for over 5 years. From 2018 forward, either Breanna Stewart or Aja Wilson claimed the distinction during 6 out of 8 campaigns, with Jonquel Jones and Elena Deli Doan in 2019 being exceptions. However, the league contains excessive talent for simply defaulting to Stewart or Wilson repeatedly. Pickman predicts a different recipient will earn the award initially.